I will say this. It's worth noting. It deserves to be celebrated, but let's not get it twisted. This does not automatically translate into a win or justice or reparations for Black Americans. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, to all of my old faithfuls. If this is the first time that you're seeing my face, the first time you've ever come across one of my videos, welcome. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. I promise you won't be sorry. What am I talking about? This is what I'm talking about.
It's a move towards justice and healing. The UN General Assembly voted to recognise the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime in human history. On Wednesday, Ghana's President John Mahama came here to the UN in person to promote this resolution put forward by his country.
We come together in solemn solidarity to affirm truth and pursue a route to healing and reparative justice. The adoption of this resolution serves as a safeguard against forgetting.
This resolution calls for formal global recognition of this historical crime and opens the door for reparatory justice measures. It also urges the restitution of stolen works of art. Well, the vote in the General Assembly was passed with 123 votes in favour, 3 against and 52 abstentions. Argentina, Israel and the United States were the 3 members that voted against the resolution. France and the UK were amongst those that abstained. Whilst the resolution really got the backing of much of the global south, it did prove controversial for some Western powers, mainly because they are concerned about the mention of reparations. They argue that modern governments should not be held legally liable for historical crimes. Supporters argue, however, that this is about recognition of justice, not blame for current generations, and that it is part of a process towards healing. Toronto youth poet Shahada Jack read her poem Reclaiming Our Pen in the General Assembly, honouring those whose stories were never given the chance to be told.
Having this conversation in a global sphere and in a global space like the United Nations, I think will continue to empower the youth to speak their truth and to learn the truths of our world.
Ghana's president quoted Martin Luther King in his speech in the General Assembly Hall. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice, he said.
Now, I didn't do a whole lot of research. I read a couple of articles, and I gather from those articles that I read is the text of the resolution basically frames slavery as a historical atrocity, which it was. And the consequences still shape racial inequality, discrimination. It still affecting the global systems, labor, property, capital. It explicitly says reparations are a concrete step towards correcting the wrongs of the transatlantic slave trade. Furthermore, from what I gathered, from what I read, the resolution doesn't provide any type of legal payout. All it does, it mainly is about official recognition, recognizing that the transatlantic slave trade is the gravest atrocity against humanity in history. It encourages governments to apologize. But when it comes to talking about who's going to get compensated, how much will people get compensated, when will people get compensated, there's no discussion about that in the resolution. You had 123 countries vote for the resolution. You had 3 who voted against the resolution. Those 3 are Argentina, Israel, and the United States. And you had 52 countries abstain. They didn't vote for, and they didn't vote against. And here's the conversation that I'm seeing that's taking place out on social media regarding the passing of this resolution. You have people celebrating. You have people out in the diaspora, across the diaspora, people over in Ghana because their president brought the resolution to the UN and it passed, so they're celebrating. You don't see a lot of Black Americans talking about this or celebrating this. I can't speak for all Black Americans, so I'm going to speak for myself. I recognize that on some level this is a win, right? Like the president of Ghana said, this resolution will safeguard against forgetting the atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade, right? We know here in the United States, they are working hard to try to whitewash slavery here in the United States. So this resolution does help to safeguard that, but it doesn't go beyond that. It recommends that governments apologize for slavery. It recommends that governments apologize for slavery. Are there any consequences for governments not apologizing for slavery? No. It's the first step to talk about reparative justice. Well, what are the follow-up steps? The resolution doesn't talk about follow-up steps. Are there meetings being scheduled in the future to keep this going, to keep this discussion going? And when it comes to reparations, what does that look like? The reparations, it's not talked about in the resolution. It doesn't say reparations could look like checks cut. It could look like 40 acres and a mule. It could look like free education. It could look like, it doesn't specifically talk about reparations and what that looks like across the world. But I understand why Ghana is celebrating. They are proud of their president. And as a Black American, and in knowing that African countries has done nothing for Black Americans, I don't trust that African countries, including Ghana, would do anything regarding this resolution to benefit Black Americans. So, does it deserve to be celebrated? Absolutely. Am I celebrating? No, I am not.